What's up guys, Syiler here, and we are back with episode 7 of our leveling series. We are level 37, and we are in Western Plaguelands. It's been a little while since I did this. It's been like 2 weeks, so I'm a little forgetful where we're actually up to. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a few things. Obviously, I'll answer questions from the last video. And I mainly wanted to talk about Legion and my thoughts on Legion, and a few of like the features and what I think of them, and hopefully it'll give you a good idea of what to expect in Legion as well. It may contain some spoilers from Legion, I guess. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna say right now, so just in case if you don't want to hear anything about Legion or whatever, just keep that in mind for as we're going through the video. As when we start talking about Legion, you might want to, mute or stop watching or something, because I don't want to ruin it for you. So I'll give you that warning now. Before we get started, as always, quick shout out to my WoW channel that I put all the guides and stuff onto now. It's called One Legion TV. That's where you'll see all the guide content for now, current Legion, going forward. While my own channel's more of just a channel for me, to hang out, do whatever kind of content I want, and be a bit more personal. So if you want to continue seeing those guides, definitely head over to One Legion. There'll be a link down below, and I'd appreciate support over there. The channel's doing alright. We've been putting out a lot of videos and guides from WoD, and we're gonna be starting to work on Legion content now that it's kind of a little bit more settled. Because before we'd make a video and it would change within, a week. They'd change whatever we'd spoken about. So we wanted to wait till it was a little bit more settled. And I say we, the channel isn't just mine. I do it with someone called Metro, who does some videos on there. He's mainly a tank healer, so it works well together. He kind of covers the content that I normally wouldn't do. So definitely go check it out. Also, I've been live streaming quite a lot. I start around 12 in the afternoon UK time, so that's like 1 CET, I think. Is it CEST? I don't know what European time is right now, but around there I start, and I've been streaming for about 5-6 hours doing gold making stuff as I'm trying to get gold cap, mount farming, we'll be working towards some PvP stuff, might be setting up a guild with someone, Chav Gaming Harry, friend of mine. So if anyone used to watch my stream, or if you've never watched my stream before and you're interested, then there'll be a link down below as well. It's twitch.tv/Syiler, and yeah, I'd appreciate to see some more people in there, going every day pretty much. So with that out of the way, the shameless promotion, let's get started with the leveling. And let's also, what do I need? I need spiders. So I was right where I was before. I don't know why I came back over here. So let's get started with the comments from the last video. So 90210 Frogger says, what's the story behind your craziest rare mount drop that you've ever had? So that's kind of a tough question, because I can't remember the craziest drop, like one that's, I don't know really what to say as in terms of crazy, but there are a few mount stories that I've got. So I guess I'll go through those. So one was the Raven Lord. The Raven Lord plagued me for a really, really long time. And back in BC, I was running it with a druid and another guy, and we'd do it every single day. And we said, when it drops, we'll carry on doing it for the other people. And then the third guy dropped out, but by that point we were able to 2-man it anyway, so it wasn't too bad. It was towards the end of like BC at this point, and we were able to get it done. He was a druid, luckily, so we could still summon it. And it got into Wrath, and it finally dropped. And he never did it again. He just gave up. He won it, and he just stopped doing it. So I stopped doing it at that point, because at that point you couldn't summon it yourself, you still needed a druid. And then when they finally made it so you could solo it, I started doing it myself again. And I need 10 more wildlife. I think I got some more questicles, some more stuff anyway. And I kept doing it all the way up to, actually, let's find out. I did it all the way up to... where is the bird? Where is the bird? It's in here somewhere. Am I blind? I'm probably blind. There we go. So 2012. So only, well, I say only 4 years ago, but it took me a long time to get that mount. I mean, what expansion with 2012 been? Like Cataclysm-ish? Late Cataclysm, I guess? Around there. So it took me from BC to Cataclysm to get it to drop, and I was doing it near enough every day when I could. Obviously there was a break where I couldn't solo it anymore, and then when they allowed, where they made it where it didn't need to be summoned, I have intellect boots on. Then I started doing it myself again. So it took me a really long time to get it, and I think I got it on live stream as well. When I was streaming it, it popped. So that was pretty nice. But I was pretty happy about that, as you can imagine. It took a really, really long time to get the Raven Lord, like hundreds of runs. Can I just kill anything here? I'm kind of used to playing... Huh, why don't these count? Oh, it's because I don't have the troll. That's why it's not working. I knew you'd normally get this done without having to kill additional mobs, but because I don't have the guy anymore, I don't get it. So we need to go back and get him. God, this is good progress right now. Where is he? The best druid in the world. There he is. And also back in, when would it have been? I guess it would have been Wrath. Before they'd removed Zul'Grub, I was doing Zul'Grub, every week, soloing it. And this one time, a friend of mine who I've known since like BC, he was like, "Can I come with you for your mount stuff? I'm bored." And I was like, "Alright then, sure, why not?" So we went and did the Swift White Hawk Strider, got that done. It dropped. I won it. And I was like, "Yes, great, nice, that's another mount." And we went to Zul'Grub, we killed the Panther, the Tiger boss, and the Tiger drops. And he only wins it. And at the time, it felt fair. Like, I'd got the Swift White Hawk Strider, he got the Tiger. We both got a mount each, But, I mean, the Swift White Hawk Strider is still in the game, but the Tiger isn't. So that's kind of a bit poop. And I still don't have the Tiger. I have the Raptor from the old Zul'Grub, and I have the Panther from the new one. But I don't have the old Panther. So if I ever reach gold cap, or more than gold cap, I'd probably buy that off the black market auction house when it comes up, just because I think that's worth gold cap. There's not many mounts that are, but that one I definitely think is, just because it's not in the game anymore. Like, people put gold cap on like Invincible and stuff, and yeah, sure, Invincible's cool, but eventually you're gonna get it anyway if you keep running it. I mean, if you've got millions of gold anyway, it's whatever to you, but like, but any mount that's still in the game, I wouldn't pay gold cap for. That you can get in the game, at least. Because, why? I can just keep doing it, and eventually it'll drop. Like, one day it has to drop, as long as I keep doing it. So, I don't really see the point behind that too much. So those would probably be the most, like, notable mount drop stories, as they're the only ones that really come to mind when I think of, like, a crazy mount drop experience. But, yeah, hopefully that's good enough. Do you think there will be... Edward Rufus asks, do you think there will be a new race in WoW, and if so, what do you think it'll be? I think there'll definitely be a new race, just because we already have a Demon Hunter this expansion. So it makes a lot more sense for them to either go down the line of new class race combos, or a new race entirely, just because adding new classes to the game does a lot to the game. Like, it's not something you want to add every expansion. Sure, it keeps things fresh, but it's not something you want to do consistently. So I definitely think there'll be a new race. What it'll be, though, I'm not entirely sure. Because there's not many things that really make sense. Like, some people think like Nagas and Ogres will be a race at some point, but I don't think I agree. Just because they don't really work well with gear. They'd have to be some kind of like... They'd have to go down the line of like Worguns for Naga, where out of combat they look like a night elf. But that'd have to be some kind of like new lore thing where Nagas have managed to get, transformations very similar to Worgen. So I don't think Naga would ever be a race. Maybe. An Ogre has a similar thing. Like, they have to work well with gear sets, and I don't really see that happening. What other like notable races are there that could be? I don't know. I can't really think of what the next race would be, to be honest. God damn this guy. Just fucking stop it. Just fire you. Please. Stop this. I'm not sure, to be honest. I definitely think there will be any race, but I couldn't tell you or guess what it would be right now. I'd imagine it's going to be something they kind of very similar to Panda, something that isn't really in the game right now, but it's added because of the expansion that's coming up. Obviously, Pandas were in the game through Warcraft, but they're not something that's, you know, they're not really something you've seen in current WoW before Mr. Pandaria. So I think it'll be something similar to that, like some kind of lost race or something along those lines that we rediscover, and yeah, they join the Horde Alliance, or maybe both, or whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure what it'll be. Miss Casey asks, thanks for answering my question. If you could be a WoW race class combo, what would you be? Why? It doesn't have to be playable. Noble, Demonologist, which expansion? But okay, so what race combo would I be? I've always liked the idea of playing an undead paladin. I don't know why. I know, like, that's essentially, like, some people are like, oh, that's a Death Knight, but it's not actually a paladin. It's a Death Knight. So I've always, like, or an orc. I'd really like to be a paladin orc or a paladin undead. Just because I think those are, like, really... I like those races. Well, I'm not too much of a fan of undead, but I've always liked the idea of a paladin undead for some reason. Just because it's kind of like you know, like a paladin hero that's died and he's come back to still wreak retribution and justice all over the place. In terms of something that's not playable, like a race that, you know, you can't play right now, that's kind of the last question. What race would I like to be that isn't playable? Then there's a lot of different races in the game. Oh, actually, I think I'd be a war. You know, the Tuskar people, like a Tuskar, like a maybe a Tuskar shaman. That makes more sense than anything. Are they even called Tuskars? The Warriors people. Surely you know what I mean by that, at least. I think they're called Tuskars. Yeah, I'd be either that or I'd be one of the, like, not the Murlocs, but the ones that we get in BC, in Wrath as well, the Oracles. Yeah, one of those. And if I was one of those, I'd probably be like a hunter one or something. Or actually, maybe a warrior one. See it like shoot, like Titan gripping little guy. Very good. Which expansion boss did you get the most satisfaction from downing? So that would be two fights for me that come to mind. Both of them in Wrath of the Lich King. It's probably where I had the most fun and where I was like actually starting to raid like more hardcore, I guess you can call it. The first would be Safarion 3 Drakes 25 man. We were at the time pushing for server first, and we got beat by like 3 days, which really sucked, but hey. So we only just got beat, but at the time in vanilla I was a hunter and I'd started leveling up a paladin when they brought in the, like, when BC launched I started leveling up like a paladin. And I was a blood elf and I started healing for my guild. Because at first I was going to play hunter in BC. But I just said, oh no, actually no. I'm misremembering. My bad. Through BC I played hunter. And then towards the end of BC, I was thinking, because I didn't have a blood elf in like early BC. Late BC, I started leveling a Blood Elf Paladin, and it was Retribution. And I remember the pre-patch for Wrath coming in, where Ret Paladin was crazy OP, and I was in like terrible gear doing like most damage in Zul'Aman. Oh, it was great fun. But I'd intended on playing my Hunter, but the guild needed a healer going into Wrath. So I was like, okay, I'll play my Paladin. So it was the first time I'd really healed, and I ended up joining it. That guild disbanded like a bit, like just after Naxxramas. So I ended up joining a more hardcore guild on my Holy Paladin, and I was healing Safari on 3 Drakes, like pushing for server first. So it was the first time I'd ever done anything that high end in a sense, and I was tank healing. And tank healing on that fight, you had a lot of stuff to worry about. You didn't want to over aggro on the whelps, because if you healed like as the whelps came out, you would aggro and die. You had to watch for. I had to be on the side of the room with the boss, so I had to watch for like with the breath, the tail swipes, the void zones, the firewall, and keep the tank alive. And when I'd never really done something like that, it felt really intense, like really, really intense. So when we eventually got it down, it just felt great. It was the first time I'd really felt that rush, and my heart was really beating. It was the first sort of big achievement fight I'd done. And then the next one would have been Heroic Lich King 25-man. At that point, I was playing Ret Paladin, and what level are we? Okay, we're not quite there yet. At that point, I'm not used to being in these zones as long as I am. I'm used to doing dungeons. I normally have dungeons done, so I only need to, like, I never really go past this quest chain. So I'm not really sure how to optimally do the rest of the quests. Sorry, I cracked my knuckles as well. The next would have been Lich King 25-man. I was playing Ret Paladin again at that point, and my job on that fight was to call for call for shadow traps, which shadow traps on 25-man Heroic Lich King would go on like a group of players, either the ranged or the melee, and they would blow up if people didn't move out of them fast enough, and they would knock everyone off the edge. So that was kind of important, having to watch out for that. I was also dispelling Necrotic Plague, so I was watching out for Necrotic Plague going out while calling Shadow Traps, and I was also trying to do, good damage, and I didn't have Shadow Mourn. I was third in line for it, which kind of sucks because the 2 people who got it before me, both quit or left the guild, and I was the only one who stayed till, the one that was in line at least, stayed until we killed all the bosses. So if I would have got it, I would have actually been able to use it on Heroic Lich King. But anyway, so I didn't have that. I just had the blue axe from the first boss, from Bone Storm guy. I can't think of his name. So I was trying to do as much damage as I could. I remember Ret was weird back then as well. You had to have leather pieces for best in slot. I remember the belt from Putricide. Professor Putricide was like biz for Ret. It was really weird. But yeah. And once we got that down, that felt really good too. And then the mount went on, like, the GM was like, okay, how are we gonna do the mount? And the whole guild was like, oh, you can have it for working so hard. And I was like, sod him, give it to everyone, like everyone roll. But I didn't say anything. I was like, yeah, whatever. And then the unfortunate bit is the guild kind of, once we got the Lich King kill, a lot of people were just like, yep, I'm done. And some people left, some people joined other guilds, some people just quit till next expansion. So we never got another Lich King kill. Actually, we got one more Lich King kill, and we never got another one after that. So that was a little bit sad. So I didn't even come close to getting chance for the mount, really. And I didn't get my Shadow Mourn either in Wrath, because we quit raiding. When it was my turn to get Shadow Mourn, I needed the Sindragosa quest, and we didn't do the Sindragosa quest because we were trying to do it on Heroic. We needed the Heroic kill, and it was too much, hard work trying to do that while trying to get the kill, because it was still a little bit of a struggle for us. So, and because we needed the gear upgrades, we never went back and did it on normal. So I never actually got the 3rd quest done so I could start collecting shards. And it was a little bit silly, but at that point we were close to killing Lich King anyway, so they didn't really feel like, well, felt like we needed the Shadow Mourn. So that was a little bit sad. But yeah, that's that. And finally, bags of bullets, arrows, running to trainers for every new ability, area change by the... Wait, what things do you not miss from previous expansions? So if we look at like vanilla, or vanilla slash BC, I definitely don't miss spending all of my gold to respec and buy new skills. Like I don't really find that fun. It makes gold worth a little bit more, like it makes you treasure it a bit, but it still wasn't too fun dumping all of your gold into it when it was just like a slight, like it wasn't, most of the time you didn't really get anything new. You were mostly just ranking up old spells to do more damage, so it wasn't that crazy. Arrows and stuff I actually kind of liked, because especially later on you had to put the effort in to get the good ammo. So that felt kind of cool. I wish it wasn't, like it didn't take up a bag slot, like if it had its own like special bag. Now I know you could buy ammo pouches, but I mean, say like a 7th slot or 6th slot just for ammo. That would have been cool, and that would have been a nice way, but it also sucked when you hit the point where you ran out of ammo, like after a few hours of progression, and you just kind of slyly walking up to the boss and throwing in a few autos and not hoping no one realizes you ran out of ammo, you know. Where is my cat's dead? I don't know why it's dead. Do I even have res? There we go. I don't miss the way quests were. Like, people make out old school questing was difficult and stuff, but it was mostly RNG. Like, it wasn't really fun dying to a mob because you pulled an extra one, or dying to a mob because it goes parry, resist, and it just like RNG dodges everything like a god and kills you. It's like, oh great, yeah. Sick outplay, mate. Like that wasn't fun. I definitely don't miss that, and I don't really miss the old. There's some aspects of old school questing that I do miss, like for example the shaman quest to get totems. They were a pain in the ass. Yeah, they definitely were, but they also made you feel like an actual shaman. You know, you attune into the elements and stuff, and that bit felt good. What? That build felt really good. So I definitely miss that, but I don't miss the way questing flowed in vanilla. Like the update to the vanilla questing zones in Cataclysm did so much for the game. Like people make out Cataclysm's a bad game, a bad expansion, but considering the raids that we have had and the content patches that we got throughout the expansion, and what they did to the old school world, like you gotta keep in mind they revamped the whole of vanilla content and added new zones for us to quest through, and we had 3 raids on launch, and then Firelands, and then Dragon Soul. Like, people like to make out that it was a bad expansion, but you've still got to say it did a lot for the game. I imagine going through vanilla questing now as like a new player. Oh my god, no thank you. I like quests that actually flow and make sense. No. No. So I'm glad that happened. I definitely don't miss the way old questing flowed in like vanilla. And in honesty, like BC needs something similar, but I don't think they'll ever do it. BC isn't too bad, but there's still some period. Actually, BC questing's okay. I'll take that back. There's a few zones that are a bit poop, but generally people just skip them anyway. Like I sit in Hellfire until I'm like 63, and I do a level or 2 in Zanga, and then I spend all my time in Nagrand, and it's normally pretty good that way. You avoid all the crappy questions. So yeah, BC's not too bad, but vanilla didn't make much sense, and the rewards and stuff didn't make much sense either. So yeah, them revamping a lot of that stuff was definitely good. What else? What else do I miss or not miss? Where are all these mobs? This is what I miss. Where are the things to kill? I'm not sure actually. I'll have a think. Nothing else really comes to mind that There's something I don't miss about classic WoW. I don't miss having to eat and drink every other mob. I definitely don't miss that either. Like, it's not fun having to fight a couple mobs and being like, alright, time to sit and drink and eat them for like 20 seconds. I like the health regen now. Maybe it's a bit too strong right now. Like, you kill a mob and you're instantly to full health. Maybe it shouldn't be that good, but it's definitely a lot nicer. That was one issue I had with Arcade, and it was even worse in Arcade because food and drink aren't, like, you can't buy them from a vendor. You've got to make them, and to make them it isn't easy. So you're leveling through and your regen is terrible. So if you were low health, low mana, you literally just had to sit and wait. I even took a talent which gives me health and mana back when I like basically feign death. So yeah, don't miss having to sit and eat and drink. But yeah, that's about all I can think of. There's probably a lot more stuff, but it's just not coming to mind right now. Can I not skip this? Nope. So yeah, that is that. God, that took me 26 minutes. I'm surprised. So next up, for the next sort of 10-20 minutes, I want to talk a little bit about Legion. Now, some people might see this as like fanboy or whatever, but in honesty, I've only really just come back to the game. The last 3 weeks, I've been playing the game for 10 plus hours a day, and I'm really glad I am, because I've missed having a game to sit and play for 10 hours a day. I'm not even sure what it was that kind of brought me back to the game. I randomly started farming gold because I decided I didn't want to be poor anymore. My whole WoW career has been me having like 10 gold. So I decided it's about time that I have more than 10 gold. And I've really enjoyed it. Like it's a completely, what is going on with my keybinds? It's a completely different content type. There's always something to do to earn gold, so you've always got something to be doing. So it feels really, really good. It's fun. I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's making me want to do the other things now, because if I'm PvPing and I get bored, I can go and grind some gold. If I'm doing PvE and I get bored, I can go and grind some gold, you know? And there's a lot of ways of doing gold. You could farm transmog, you could do professions, you could do just raw, like, farming mobs for specific items or something. You could go down the line of, like, pet battles. Like, there's a lot of options and a lot of quote-unquote content to get gold. So it's fun. I'd recommend giving it a go. And the WoW Gold community is, from what I've experienced so far, really nice. There's some people that you might come across on your own server that are assholes just because you're kind of breaking into their market, but in general, the gold making community overall is really nice. Most of them are really nice people and very like welcoming and nice enough to share their tips and stuff. I've been pressing kill shot all this time and I don't even have it on my bars. Like, what is going on? Look at all of these buttons that I've just not got. Like, what have I been doing? Going full like AFK hunter mode, just spamming arcane shot. I mean, that's pretty much all you need. But anyway, talking about Legion before I go off in another tangent about absolutely nothing, as I always do. So I'm going to be talking about a few things that are coming in Legion. This might be where some spoilers take place, so if you're not interested in that, then this would be the time to mute or whatever. And I'm going to go through some of the features, how they work, explain them basically, and then kind of give my thoughts on that feature. So the main one, obviously, is artifact weapons. If you don't know, artifact weapon is what everyone will get in Legion. Every class and spec has a specific artifact weapon, so Ret Paladin has their own, Holy Priest has their own, every single spec has their own artifact weapon, unique to that spec. And it's going to be with you for throughout the whole of Legion. It's going to be the only weapon you use. There's various skins that you can unlock for it. They're through like PvP, killing bosses, questing. There's some like easy ones to get, and then there's some like really grindy, higher end ones to get. So that's good. There's a good variety. Like you might get the same skin as someone, or like the same like model, but you can unlock a different color variation because of whatever you've done. So they might have the same model, but you've got a different color, which shows you've done like, I don't know, rank 15 prestige in PvP, or you've done all the challenge mode dungeons on level 15 or whatever. So that's that. And then the artifact weapon, as I said, will stay with you throughout the whole of Legion. In terms of how its item level goes up, you have these kind of relic slots. It starts out with 2, and you'll put a relic in there, and it'll increase the eye level. And as I said, you get 2. They're locked to specific things. For example, the enhanced one starts with fire and iron relics, so you can only put a fire relic in the fire slot, and only put an iron relic in the iron slot. And that will, as I said, increase your eye level. So if you get 2 5 eye level relics, that'll be 10 eye level on your weapon. That you can only have 1 in 1 relic slot. So if you've got a 5 eye level fire relic and you get a new one that's 15 eye level, then you'll break the old 5 eye level one and replace it with the 15, and the 5 one will be destroyed. It's gone. On top of that, they have an extra effect where it'll give you a rank in one of your artifact tree skills. So there's something called artifact power, which you'll get through questing, you'll get it through finding treasures, and you'll get it through, you know, doing dungeons. Basically everything that you do will award you with artifact power. So the more you play the game, the more artifact power you're going to get, the faster your weapon's going to level up, basically. So first of all, the first rank is 100 artifact power, which you'll get within like 20-30 minutes of playing Legion. And that will give you your first trait, like your first artifact tree point. So imagine imagine old WoW talent points, yeah? So you've got to start on the first row, and you'll be able to put points in that. And once you've filled up that row, then you'll be able to move on to the next one. And you'll be able to, you know, it branches off. So you'll start off with maybe choosing the first skill will be like each point gives you 5% damage in Storm Strike as an example. Jesus. And then once you've put 3 points in that, then that'll be 15% damage in Storm Strike, and then it'll allow you to branch off into either Crash Lightning, which is the new enhanced AoE, makes your Storm Strike do additional damage with how many targets it hits. Or the other one will be Lava Lash gains 3% damage per point. And then, you know, you branched off and you build up, and eventually you'll fill the whole thing, but that will take a really long time. So you'll have to be a little bit thoughtful of where you're going with your direction and your tree. And as I mentioned, the relics will give you an additional rank in one of those skills. So say, for example, I get an iron relic that gives me 59 level, and increases the rank of the Storm Strike skill. So previously I could put 3 points in it and it would give me 15% damage. With that relic, I now have 4 points in it and I've got 20% damage. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's pretty much how artifact weapons are going to work. You'll level it up as you go along, and every time you put a point in something, so you start off with, it'll cost 100, and then it'll cost like 150 or something, and then it'll cost like 250, and as you go along, it's going to cost more and more and more and more. So it's going to get to a point where it's taking you a really long time to get a new skill, basically. So yeah, that's how they're going to keep the weapon relevant throughout the whole expansion, and then the new raids will add bigger relics that'll give you like 20-30 eye level each, so your weapon's going to be getting like 100 eye level from that. So personally, I like that system. I've always liked the kind of idea of building up your weapon in games. It makes it feel a bit more personal, like you need to care about it a bit more, instead of like, oh, this is a really cool weapon, oh, this one's even more cooler, goodbye old weapon, bye. Well, this, you have to care for it, and you're making it as strong as possible, and it's like an ancient artifact, basically. It's a big power weapon within the World of Warcraft. And I like that a lot. The only thing I don't like right now is how annoying artifact power feels. By that, everything you do gives you these like 10 and 20 artifact power items that you're consuming, and they're just not very exciting to get after you get your first few. It's like, oh great, another 20 artifact power thing. I'm just gonna have a quick drink of my cup of tea before it gets cold. So that doesn't feel too fun. I'd rather it be less frequent, but a lot more when you find one. So it's like a rare item, like you found this really rare treasure, or you found that, you got a rare drop and it gives you 200 instead of every other treasure you find within like within like a 2-minute radius gives you like 20. It just doesn't feel as exciting to get these treasures and stuff. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Would rather it be less common and more, so it feels a bit more exciting when you get one. And then, there could be really big ones that are like, 1,000, whoa, like really, really big. But it isn't like that right now. It's all tiny little ones. And yeah. But the reason behind that is because you'll build up your class order hall, and you'll eventually get a trait that multiplies the amount of artifact power you get. So the reason they've done it like that is, if you were getting ones that give you 500 and you get the thing that multiplies it, then you're going to be getting a crap ton. While if you find one that gives you 20 and it gets multiplied, it isn't really that much. So I can understand why they've done it like that, but it just doesn't feel very exciting, and I'd like it to feel exciting. Getting the relics is a little bit exciting, but once again, you get them throughout the whole questing experience. You'll come across maybe 20, 30, maybe even more while you quest into 110. So the relics themselves as well don't feel very special. So yeah, I'd like it to feel a bit more exciting when I'm upgrading my weapon, as that's one thing Blade and Soul did pretty well. Like, the process of upgrading your weapon in Blade and Soul is a bit more, you've got to grind for an item, you've got to feed it so many other weapons, and you're making it feel a bit more special. It's not as easy to progress your weapon. So that's personally something I don't like, but overall I do like the artifact system. And I don't really care about everyone having Ashbringers or whatever. That's whatever. At the end of the day, like, everyone has the same weapon now anyway. PvPers all have the PvP weapons. PvEers all have the PvE best in slot weapons. There's no variation anyway. So what does it matter? People like to go on everyone's gonna have Ashbringer. It's gonna be so unfun. But that's how it is right now. If there's a best in slot weapon, then people go and get that weapon. The people who care about that stuff anyway, and the PvPers all have the same weapon, so it's literally the same right now. And you'll be able to still transmog your artifact weapon to anything you want. Obviously it has to be related to the weapon type. So right now you can only transmog a sword into a mace or an axe or whatever. You won't be able to transmog your Ashbringer into a dagger. It can only be a two-handed weapon. So yeah, that's how that's going to work, at least. There's also, as I mentioned, going to be class order halls, and these are basically, I don't want to say this without making people feel worried, but they're basically Garrison 2.0, but they're not the Garrison, okay? So just don't get that in your head. Don't think, oh no, Garrison. It's not the Garrison. You spend very little time there. You literally just pop in, pick up any quests or objectives that you need to do, send out your followers, and it's, once again, the follower thing is a lot different than it is right now. The missions for the follower thing take hours, and you only have a handful of followers. I think you get 5 or 10 max. So it's not going to be something you're consistently going back to and doing, and you're not going to level up alts to do Garrison stuff or class order hall stuff, because it won't be worth it. You don't really get that much like monetary reward anymore. Instead, it's more stuff that progresses your character and progresses the story. So yeah, it's a lot better. And also in your class order hall, you'll get like spec and class specific storyline quests to go and do. So those are pretty cool as well, because it makes you feel like a shaman or a paladin or whatever. It's really nice. I like it a lot. So that, I feel, is good. I definitely don't feel like it's anything like how current class or garrisons are. You can't do professions there. There's no like herb garden or whatever in your class order hall. It's just kind of like the place you go every once in a while. Your main place to hang out will probably be Dalaran, which is the new / old faction city for Legion. They basically moved Dalaran to Legion to help fight the Legion, basically. So class order halls I'm completely okay with. I think they've definitely taken the good things from garrisons and moved it onto a system that feels good. It's not something you're going to be sat there and doing all day. And as I said, you're not going to want to level alts for gold rewards and stuff because they don't really exist anymore. So that's that. In terms of the leveling experience is changed as well. You have 4 zones that you'll be able to level through. You'll also go back to your class order hall and pick up like quest chains to do there as well. So that's kind of like the 5th zone in a sense. Will be your class order hall, which will give you like a level or so from doing all of that. But that's throughout the leveling experience. Like you'll be sent back there. Say you get to like 102, you'll be sent back to your class order hall to continue the like shaman quest or whatever. And as I said, there's 4 zones that you can level through in Legion. There's currently 5 zones total, but only 4 of them are for leveling. And you get to pick whatever zone you want. And that's pretty cool. So if you decide you want to start off leveling in Azuna, you can. And you can stay there till 101, 102, 103, 104. You could grind mobs there all the way to 110 if you really wanted to. I wouldn't advise it. But the way it works in Legion is the mobs in Legion and the quests and the experience and everything will scale to the level that you are. So if you're 107, all the mobs in Legion, apart from in Suramar, are 107. In like those 4 questing zones will be 107. If you're 102, they'll all be 102. And then when you hit 110, they'll all be 110 and you'll be sent back to do objectives in those zones as well. So it keeps those zones always current. And then Suramar will be the 110 like only zone where you'll go and that'll be like your place to be at 110. So it's nice that there's like a max level zone specifically as well. I'm just gonna hide the... Let me just give him a whisper. Just recording them up. Yeah, stream. I'll give him a quick whisper. Let him know I'm recording. So yeah, that's kind of cool. It makes them all relevant, and it makes it so you can do what you want to do, you know? So, it's nice. I really think that's a great system. And on top of that, for the questing experience, the storyline is great. I think a lot of you will like Azuna. There's one specific part of Azuna that I thought was great. So I think a lot of people will like that and they'll enjoy that. I think that's something to look forward to. I think all of the zones have a great quest line apart from one. And I'm not going to tell you which just because I don't want you to feel like, don't want you to have bad thoughts going into it. But there's one that I didn't really like in particular. But the rest of them were great. Also, they've made it so you don't have to hate other players. It's taken a really long time for this to happen. But say you're killing a mob, and Steve comes over, and there's no mobs left, only the one that you're killing. Steve can help you kill that mob and get credit. And if Steve's already killing the mob and you walk over, you can help Steve. As long as Steve is on the same faction as you, you can both kill the same mob. And if it's like and up to 5 people can kill the same mob. So as long as there's not like a bunch of people there, you can all tag the same mob, get credit for it, and carry on. So you can actually help people on your own faction. And it's been so long. I've always hated leveling up in a new expansion when I've had to hate other players. Like, it just makes me feel unsocial. It makes me not want to be around other people because, you know, they're ruining my leveling experience. But now I get to help them and I get to actually feel a part of whatever they're doing. I'm going to pick up that Essence of Death because I actually need that for gold making. So grab that. Nice. So that is fantastic. It's really, really, really big change for leveling. I think they've definitely gone out of the way to make the leveling experience a lot better. So people who like leveling, I think you'll really enjoy 1 to 110. The only thing that is a little bit poop right now is it's probably going to suck to level up a second character. It's not going to feel too great, but they'll eventually get around to adding some kind of experience boost, I assume, for 100 to 110, just to make it feel a little bit faster. As it is long, right now it takes about 16-ish hours, and obviously that's not too long. But going from 1 to 110 is a long experience. So adding another 16 hours onto it is, it's not really what you want. So they'll probably add some kind of like, catch-up mechanic a bit later on. So it's not too much to worry about. What else have we got? So we got the leveling experience at 110 in terms of content that you'll have to do. You'll have there's like a new challenge mode thing. It will give raid like high-end gear, and you'll get the gear, like the gear will be improved based on how you do. So the way it's going to work, if you've ever played Diablo, if you've not, I'll try and explain this as best as I can. But you'll start the challenge mode dungeon, and it'll be, X dungeon. And the mobs inside that dungeon will have 2 bonus abilities. We'll say they'll have bleed on their attacks, and they also have low threat. So it means your tank will struggle to keep threat on the mobs. And every week they'll get 2 random new affixes, basically, that they'll be attached to them. And everyone gets the same ones, so one group won't have a better setup. Every group will have exactly the same setup. And when you do stage 1, the mobs will be normal health, whatever, and then you'll do like level 2, and they'll get, higher HP, higher damage, and you'll go to level 3, level 5, level 10, whatever. And the higher you get, the harder the mobs are going to be to deal with. So, and also the higher you get, the better the reward is going to be at the end of the week. So the better you do, the better the gear is going to be. So it kind of incentivizes you to, to put time and effort into doing as best as you can in these like challenge mode dungeons. It's going to give relevant gear throughout the expansion, which is really nice. I haven't got around to doing them myself, so I can't say how easy or difficult they are, but I have watched streams on them and they do look fun. So I am definitely looking forward to that, because I have friends who I'd like to do 5-man content with that's a bit more chill instead of, the normal raid group. So yeah, 5-man like content that actually matters, I'm completely okay with. I think that's great. Some people don't like it, and that's fine. Once again, it's not something you have to do. If you're a higher end raider, you'll probably have to do it to get that extra piece of gear. And, if you're not looking forward to that, then I can understand that. But for me, I think it's great. There's also going to be a bounty system. Once again, very similar. There's still a lot of ideas from the D3 team. So you're going to have like bounties to do within the zone or within the Legion content. And one could be go kill Bob the Butcher. And you'll go and kill him, and he'll be in like Suramar. Or one will be kill, Demon Slayer, go kill 100 demons. And you'll complete your bounty, and you'll get like dungeon equivalent gear. So it's just another way of gearing up. You'll be able to do dungeons and get gear. You'll be able to do your bounties and get gear. And then there's all like the quest line and stuff within Suramar, which is like 110 content. And I believe it's gated. I'm not too far into it, but I believe it's gated as well. So you have to continue progressing it to unlock the next bits. So yeah, there's going to be quite a few things to do at 110. You're going to have raiding, you're going to have PvP, PvE, the challenge modes, the bounties, and then you'll have like your order hall quests to go and like your campaign quests to go and do as well. So those will be some things that you'll look forward to. In terms of PvP, they've added a new prestige system, which means it's like a separate leveling system for PvP. You'll start off at 110, you'll be level 1 in PvP. You'll be able to get to level, I think it's level 40 or somewhere around there. And that'll unlock new PvP talents, specific just for PvP. And you'll be able to use those or whatever. And when you hit the max level, you'll have an option to prestige. And if you choose to prestige, you'll start at level 1 again. But you'll gain additional rewards. So say like you get to prestige 15, you'll get the artifact skin. Or you'll get transmog gear or titles or whatever. It's all cosmetic, so it's not going to mess anything up or whatever. And also in terms of PvP, they've made it so the higher rating you are, the better eye level gear you're going to get. So say baseline the gear is, this is just a random number, Say it's 780 eye level. Actually, it'd probably be like, let's say 820. I don't know the specific number. And if you get to 1800 rating, it could be 800. Wait, what number did I say? I think I said 820, right? So you say you get to 1.8k rating, it'll be 850 eye level. You know, you'll get a bit of an eye level boost from being higher rated. Maybe not that extreme. It's like 10, 20 eye level. So it'll be like 830, 840. And the higher you progress, the better gear you're going to get. Also, PvE gear will be relevant in PvP. So if you're a PvEer and you've not really had time to collect PvP gear, your gear will work perfectly fine in PvP. Your 810 gear will be the same as a PvPer's 810 gear. You'll both have the same advantage. You'll both be equal. They've also said that eye level isn't going to mean very much in PvP. So say you've got 10 eye level on someone, that's going to be about 2% damage. So even though you're getting better gear than someone, it's still not going to give you crazy one-shot potential. You're going to have an advantage. And to be fair, you deserve an advantage. If you have better gear than someone, then of course you should be doing more damage. 100%. So I think that's fair. Some people don't like that. Some people think that everyone should have baseline gear the same. But with it meaning very little, I think that's fine. It's still going to come down to the player playing well. He'll just have a bit more damage output. But if he messes up, you'll still be able, you'll as a lower geared player, you'll still have potential to kill a guy who's 10, 20 eye level higher, you know? It's not just going to be straight up you lose if you're, like it is now. If you're 20 eye level below someone, they have to mess up pretty hard for you to beat them, you know? 20 eye level is a big damage difference. So, or maybe make it a bit more extreme, say like 40 eye level. But 40 eye level in Legion won't be that much of a damage increase. It'll be like 5% damage. So I think that's pretty cool as well. Although I don't PvP, and there's a few people in the PvP community that aren't happy with that. And you know, that's fine. I'm sure they have their reasons for it. It's whatevs. But to me, someone who casually PvPs, I think that's cool. You know, people who get higher rated will get better gear. And I'll still have a chance of being, you know, able to kill them in slightly lower gear. What else do we have? There was something else I wanted to mention. But it's gone out of my head. There's going to be the wardrobe system. It's going to look very much like this. And this will come in the pre-patch though. Although I don't think I can do it while I'm in combat. Hold on. Why is this not working? Is it because I'm not level 100? Anyway, I don't know why it's not working on this character, but it would look like this, and you'd collect all the pieces, and you'll be able to transmog these. They don't have to be in your bank anymore. They'll be added to this like wardrobe system. And this is an add-on right now called Legion Wardrobe, so you can get a look of how it's kind of going to work. But that's all. That'll be how it is in the pre-patch. And this is nearly an hour-long video, so I'm gonna collect this blood and we're gonna stop it there, as I've been ranting for a little bit too long in this one, but it's been a while since we made one, so a good old rant will do. And maybe we'll continue talking about Legion if you guys want to hear more features of Legions. Oh, that's one thing I've not talked about, professions. So yeah, there's a few things I've not talked about. And if you guys want to continue hearing about some of the features that are coming in Legion and how they'll kind of work, and if you have any questions about them, let me know and I'll talk about those in the next episode as well. But just let me know. And once again, leave some comments in the description below, in the comments below, as if I have something to talk about, then we can make these videos more often. Because that's the biggest thing right now, is I don't really have too much to talk about. And it's already 12 o'clock. I'm meant to be streaming now. Whoops. Recorded for a little bit too long. My bad. Alright, let's hurry up and wrap this up. I've normally been turning my stream on at 12 o'clock. So this video probably won't come out till tomorrow because I've kind of fluffed up on my time management today. There we go. Collected all the blood. So we're going to be done with this for today. Thank you all for watching as always. Look out for more videos coming soon. Don't forget to check out One Legion TV YouTube channel for the WoW guides and Legion content coming soon. Very, very soon. And don't forget to check out my live stream as well if you're interested in watching that. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.